Good morning and welcome to another one of Drew's book reviews. So today we are reviewing Joe Abercrombie's Half a War. So this is the third book in the Shattered Sea trilogy. Now, if you haven't seen my reviews on the previous two books in the series, definitely check out my YouTube channel for the previous two on this. So essentially, at this point, we now have the world being plunged into war. Now, Father Yarvi, who's a minister, I guess say the ministers in this world kind of takes the place of the wizard or sorceress advisor to kings and queens like you find in typical fantasy books. But he has sworn an oath of vengeance, which he is determined to see fulfilled, even if it means bringing war to half the world. Uh, our main character in this book is Princess Skara, who has seen everything she loved has been completely destroyed, and there's nothing left. She's the sole survivor, and hence becomes the sole heir of Throverland, who she has nothing. She has nothing left. So she joins forces with Father Yarvi in a war against the High King to overthrow him and basically take back everything that belongs to her, so that she might rule in the place of her father and grandfather who fought to protect her homeland. So one of the aspects I kind of like about, there's a few things I kind of like about this, the way the series is written, whether that's half a world, half a war, half a king. Throughout the series, it talks a lot about only half a war is fought with swords and with actual armies. The other half is fought with your mind and politics and political maneuvering and that sort of thing. So I really like how we got into that. The same kind of concepts brought up with regards to half a piece is fought with the plowshare. So peace is not just the plow, the farming, the peaceful actions of others is only half of what it takes to maintain that peace, and half a war, only half of that is the violence involved in the war. So really interesting way to think about the ideas between peace and war within this book. Some of the other aspects I like about this series, and it really touches a lot more on in Half a War than the other two, is the concept of the elves. Now, in Joe Abercrombie's world here, the elves are not a society of people that are present and still exist in reality. In fact, they are an extinct civilization that no longer exists, and the world of elf magic is what brought about the breaking of God to begin with. The concept being that the elves had acquired and developed so much magic and powerful magic that it destroyed the world and destroyed God, shattering God into hundreds of different pieces. They are now an extinct civilization, and all throughout the world there are these elf runes that have all kinds of elf relics left over that possess these elf magics and very powerful weapons. Now, elf magic is strictly forbidden in the world. It's a heresy to use it because it caused the breaking of God to begin with. But Father Yarvi, well, he doesn't care. He goes into the elf runes to collect all these elf relics composed of elf magic. Now, the way it's written and told and described is elf magic. It's not really magic. It's more of like modern warfare, modern technology for modern warfare in the world today. We've got all kinds of semi-automatic rifles and weapons and guns, and things that could cause a lot of destruction. And that's really what the elf magic is. So it kind of paints this idea that perhaps the world Joe Abercrombie has put together is this world that's far in the future, thousands of years after the world is destroyed by this advanced civilization. Like maybe we're the elves, and we just haven't gotten to that point. And the ruins of our cities will one day be considered haunted, evil places, and our technology might be considered that horrible, evil, heretical elf magic. Who knows? But I really like how that idea is presented within this whole Shattered Sea trilogy. I thought that was really well done, and it's quite intriguing. In fact, I would love to go back at some point and read all about the breaking of God and the world of the elves, and all how this breaking of God concept happened in the first place. I'm not sure if Joe Abercrombie has written that yet or not, but I might have to look into it and find out if he has. I know he's got some other books out there that are on my wish list, so that's something that I really like about this. One of the other concepts that kind of comes out in this book is this idea about. It kind of reminds me of the Crusades, in a way, in a sense, because we have the conflict between this group of people that worships the one God, and there's only one God that they worship, and no other gods exist. And they are raiding and ravaging across the land and burning places to the ground and taking slaves and just basically instilling fear in them in the same way that the Christian Crusades happened in the ancient world against the, I guess you could say, pagans, those who worship a whole pantheon of gods. And so that concept of the multiple gods versus the single god also plays out within this story. And I really like that idea behind this. It's definitely a fantasy, but it's a fantasy that draws from human history in that sense, between the pagans versus the Christian conflict and the Crusades. I thought that was really, really awesome way to do it, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. One of the things I haven't mentioned before is that the culture within this series of books is it's a lot kind of reminiscent of Viking culture, which I thought was pretty cool. The way they're warriors and the pride and the honor that comes from glory of battle, and the warrior and the shield wall is talked about several times. So overall, I really enjoyed this Shattered Sea series. Really enjoying Joe Abercrombie. I've got a bunch more of his books on my wish list, so no doubt I'll be buying more of his books in the future and reading them as well. Overall, definitely recommend it. Enjoyable read, just really good, and I would definitely recommend it for you. Now, the next book up on my to-read list, one that some people have looked at me and said, oh my gosh, you haven't read that? And I am really looking forward to it. Robert A. Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. I've heard so many good things about this. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but this is up next, so stay tuned. Really look forward to reading this one. And again, I want to thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe. You can check out all my social media feeds in the description below, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have yourself a fantastic day.